to Tim. I hope y'all doing well today. Today is Sunday. Happy Sunday. Gonna be a hot one for a good portion of the U.S. today. First thing I'd like to go over is the upper level water vapor loop, which clearly shows our precip ongoing flooding here in Texas, unfortunately. Um, with some forcing from a short wave on forward max moving through the area, which is likely to stretch out and leaves energy behind, which will lead to more rainfall across the area today. You can see um, there's an upper level water vapor, upper level low out here in the Gulf of Mexico with some energy diving this way um, to the southwest, which will overspread Florida, which will lead to increased flood risk there. The stream of moisture will bring the chance of flooding for all up and down this corridor today. The biggest focus, obviously, today is in Texas, um, where we don't need any more rain. We really don't. And I'm hopeful that today be the last day for a few days anyway. They just don't have that time to recover, and now they got to deal with this again. Um, this stagnant pattern is not uncommon for this time of year. However, the extreme amount of events that are going on with floods is, I would say, uncommon. And unfortunately, um, as temperatures rise and continue to be above normal from a climate standpoint, the atmosphere can hold more moisture. And what that means is that when it does precipitate, it'll be heavier and more intense. And because of the increased temperatures, the contrast between cold and high, the temperatures, let's just say this time of year, there's um, just more heat in the atmosphere, and that just allows more moisture to build up. That's the simplest way to put it. Anyway, I just I just urge people to stay prepared. Again, this up level pattern um, is going to continue for a couple days, and then as this energy slides this way, um, it's possible it may interact with this upper level feature here over the Gulf and possibly develop into a tropical system, which I'll talk about a little bit later. This pattern, as depicted on the water vapor loop, is apparent with the flow you see at the mid levels of the atmosphere, which are jet stream flow dipping down the mid levels with a troughiness here, feeding to the flow from the low levels all the way up into this low pressure system at the surface way up here in Canada. If we go back to 500 millibars, which is the atmosphere, you move this forward, pattern lifts out slowly, as you can see here. Actually, the flow, at least up in the, is really zonal up in the as far as the jet stream goes. 200 millibars is way up, pretty much the same at the mid levels. That you can see um, potential energy. It's the 16th, right along the Florida coastline here. Go to 700 millibars. You get the hint of a low pressure system. The pressure system, like at the low levels, with a little below, but depicted right here. You can see it. Just trying to make this out here. See this little bit of flow maybe in there. But we'll just have to see how that plays out. Um, Going back to above the flow here. This is on the 16th, fairly zonal still with upper level feature. Um, Along the southwest California coast, the Baja Peninsula. Really weak flow otherwise here. I'm going to go back to this again. You see the flow here in the Gulf of Mexico, back up into Texas, the low levels comes slowly again, which to me, with lack of other forcing mechanisms, there is a upper level of low pressure. Let's take a look back, go back about on this. Anyway, this high pressure system, so then you have the flow from the south developing at the low levels too, which could lead to increased moisture again into Texas. You can see the low level jet quite strong in this area. So you can see the moisture transport could be straight out of the Gulf all the way up here in the Canada. So hopefully that won't happen, but I think it all will depend on what happens with the potential system in the Gulf of Mexico if it does form and where that takes and where the moisture from that goes. We'll just have to see. But it'll likely get wet again in Texas, at least in my opinion. And for the upcoming week, it's really forecast to be quite hot over a good portion of the U.S., of course, where precipitation is going to fall, obviously be modulated by rainfall. But you can see today, for a good part of the country, exception of maybe the Northeast and the Midwest, up into the Great Lakes and the Appalachians, and the mountains, it's going to be, excuse the language, hotter than Hades. um, Nighttime temps up in the upper Midwest is going to be cooler, which will, and that's probably due to the lower humidity up in that area, um, dew points. You can see for a good portion of the east of the Rockies, lows in the 70s can make it feel quite stifling at night. If you don't have air conditioning. Down here in Texas, you can see South Texas near almost near 80 for low, and in Florida too. Yuck. Max temps tomorrow, close to 100 degrees. A good portion of the U.S. over 100 in desert Southwest. Minimum temperatures again going to be quite warm, warming up a little bit in the upper Midwest. Day 3 max temps. Thankfully, cooling off in the upper Midwest to uh, northern plains, but really hot all the way up into the Great Lakes, 90 degrees. That's pretty hot. And given the minimum temperatures being so warm, it's going to make it hard for people who don't have air conditioning to cool off. If you know somebody like that, go and buy them a window air conditioner or something. Just, so they have one room they go to cool off until they get theirs fixed, or just to help them out. um, if anybody needs something like that or doesn't have the money to get something, let me know, and I'll be happy to work something out and send somebody some money to buy an air conditioner. It's not that much that expensive, but I'll be happy to help. Day 5 max temps. High temps cooling down some towards the end of the week. Minimum temperatures staying quite warm, but cooling off again in the upper Midwest, northern plains. Thankfully, the high temps are cooling off a little bit in the southeast, but in Texas, obviously, it's going to be hot. On day 7, heating up again. So the main theme for this week is going to be hot and humid and over a good portion of the U.S. and rainy in other places. As far as precip chances go, what we think the models think that what the most precip be, of course, and Central Texas. Again, unfortunately, I keep talking about that, but it's important. This ends at 8 p.m. today, so we're talking between 2 and 4 inches ending today at 8 p.m. So that's between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. yesterday and 8 p.m. today. So you see other increased chances in the northeast quarter. This is quantitative, so this is a total amount, 48 hours. This doesn't increase much for Texas, but you can see over Florida, we're talking 3, 4 inches, 5 inches. Increases again on the mid-Atlantic. And on Florida, we're talking 5, 6, 7 inches. And along the Gulf Coast is expected to increase as well. As far as excessive rainfall, obviously the Weather Prediction Center, this is today at the 12Z outlook. They may have updated it because last time I looked at this moderate area wasn't there for today, so this may be all day outlook. Because usually this time of day they have 12Z, which is like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. We'll see if this changes, but it really doesn't matter. You can see we have ongoing flood watches in the area, and we have this, unfortunately, bullseye around Colleen, Austin, San Antonio, with a slight risk of excessive rainfall, only 25 miles of a point, and around the yellow areas. Of course, we have that tropical area highlighted here, but multiple areas of slight risk and marginal risk along the Gulf Coast of Florida. Moving to day 2, like we talked about, risk increases in the slight risk of flooding in the Florida Peninsula. Still marginal risk in Texas, but again in the mid-Atlantic where they don't need any more rain. They had flooding recently. Day 3, of course, Florida, upper Midwest, um, Northern Plains. As we move into day 4, 4 days from now, you can see increases to marginal risk along the Gulf Coast, with marginal risk in other areas up the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Desert Southwest. Likely to a monsoon. This is day 4. Day 5, again I'm on the Gulf Coast. Regardless of tropical development, there's going to be enhanced moisture in this area during those times. As far as severe weather goes, let's look at today. There's a lot of marginal risk today throughout the U.S. with really no tornado risk, mostly wind. This was like 2% or 5%. Let's see, 5%. Hail, New Mexico, and the upper Midwest, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, South Dakota. So the theme for today is a lot of different severe threats. This is likely related here to this attendant energy associated with the rain out there. Usually you don't have a lot of severe weather with high impact flooding events, but because of water loading and stuff like that, it could lead to significant wind damage from downdrafts. Day 2, we marginal risk up in the northern plains, and then with thunderstorms over a good portion of the nation, and then that risk moves a little bit further east on day 3. So the general theme for severe weather is not too active, but wherever it does occur, of course, the impacts for you would be, important. Okay, so I know this is on everybody's mind too. Potential for tropical development next 7 days. Right now, the National National Hurricane Center still only has a 20% chance of development in the Gulf in the next 7 days. However, I'd like to point out some things here. This is the Google AI model. That incorporates their experimental models plus the ECM, the most reliable model, which is the European, which is interestingly enough, I looked at this yesterday. It didn't show any low pressure system at all. And that yellow dot, yellow low, is the high res European. See low pressure moving over Florida. And some of the other experimental models show all those dots represent a member. So that tells me that there's more confidence, not over amount of confidence, but more that something will develop, and that is echoed in the probabilities of tropical cyclone genesis in the next between 0 and 120 hours, initialized today, at 1300 Zulu. Sorry for the background noise. See the probabilities hovering around 30-40% with a lot of members agreeing it's something will be there, these tracks here. I'm not sure about what this is up here because the National Hurricane Center is not depicting anything imminent, although it could be just noise from the different models. But this tells me there's more likelihood of something developing, at least right now. And if you go and look at these are the different ensemble models that show the different model runs based on those numbers there, are the different model runs. This is the the American model, which has a lot of members in agreement. Something will be there. They have 21 members, 10 member rate. And then the European, even though in the it has like 2 members, but even though in the Google AI model I showed you shows low pressure developing, that's the operational. Well, it's ensembles too, but what I'm looking for is agreement between different ensembles, and then you have the overall super ensemble, which around the same time they all agree that something is going to be there along the Gulf Coast or on the 17th, which gives me confidence. There's a pretty good chance something's going to develop. It may be weak. Who knows what it's going to be, but I think we just need to keep an eye on this and see if these trends continue. And like I showed on the precipitation forecast, this will lead to increased, if nothing else, rain chances along the Gulf Coast, Florida, in the coming days. And this flow from the high pressure up here supports this. We'll just have to see what kind of wind shear and other things, and whether this system actually develops or not. So stay tuned. Anyway, I appreciate y'all listening in, and I'll try to keep updated as the days go on about what's going to happen here. Not trying to scare anybody, just trying to put the word out there. And if you like this video, please subscribe or like it, or I appreciate everybody. Have a good day.